Okay, so welcome again. Some of you have been with us for quite a while, and you joined our first ever associate faculty retreat for School of Ed last year. And so thank you and welcome back. And some of you are fairly new. You've taught for us for a couple semesters, but may not have had this extra support in place. So we'd like to bring everyone back together at least once a year just to provide new information that's out there, new policies, and there has been quite a bit that has changed. So thank you so much for taking the time to be part of this. And for those of you who are watching this at a later time, thank you for taking the time to go ahead and fill out the form and watch this recording as well. Always to both parties, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me at any time. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to introduce Dr. Catherine Doherty, who is our School of Education Dean. So here you go, Kathy.
Thanks, Julianne. Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's always so nice to see the faces and connect them to the names that I see so often come across my desk. It's my pleasure to welcome you tonight to the Associate Faculty session as we start the fall semester, what we hope will be a little bit more like what we're used to looking at than it has been for the past 18 months. But I do want to thank each and every one of you for the hard work and commitment that you have put into your teaching for Notre Dame, whether it's been over a period of many years, as I know it is with some of you, or whether you're new and just just coming on board with us over the last couple of semesters. No one works harder than associate faculty. I was an associate faculty and adjunct for many, many years, and I know that truly the backbone of any successful higher education program. And so thank you for everything that you do. And thank you for coming together at the end of what I'm sure is a long week, a long day at the start of what will most likely be a long week for all of us. But I think that you will find all of the information that we're presenting to you tonight to be very useful. As Julianne said, there are lots of changes and updates as we move into the year. And so I think you'll find the information to be very valuable. I am in the office every day. Don't hesitate to email me or call me if you have questions or just want to share some information. I look forward at some point to having an opportunity to perhaps meet you all face to face, but it's nice to see you all on Zoom, and we're all very comfortable in that environment and will continue to be so. So thank you again for joining us. As you know, a long line of tradition of education and educators at Notre Dame, and we do celebrate the extent of the practitioner expertise that you bring to our programs, and want you to know the great things that we hear from our students about the quality of the work that you do in the classroom. So thank you for being here, and I'm going to turn it back to Julianne so we can get moving with the agenda.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Doherty. So we are going to start off with a little fun and games. We are going to do a little Kahoot. Hopefully you brushed up on the website. If not, use your educated guesses, but there will be prizes, the top 3 finishers. So that's exciting. So I'm going to share my screen and we will get started. Do you see that? No? Yes, perfect. Go ahead and join the Kahoot and put your pin in. Okay, anyone else need to hop in there? Shout out, let me know. All right, here we go. Last one. All right. Nice job, everyone. Carolyn, Robin, and Brandon, superstars. Excellent. So we will go over what was in the Kahoot as we work through our agenda tonight. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And some of those were a little tricky because we have changed things up since last year. So if you haven't taught since the winter, then you may not have known certain things. So I want to just go through some of the bullets on the policies and procedures. And then Ryan's going to follow up by going over our website, the School of Ed website, and the updates and changes and the places where you can find pertinent information. So the first or the second bullet is the contracts, or the dates and contacts, etc. When you receive your contract, that comes from the provost's office. Donna Jenkins is the one that you communicate with about your actual physical contract. They are still doing hard copy contracts, and so I know that they've been accepting signed and scanned, but also having to mail it in also. So some of the things that might have tricked people up is when they see the dates listed on their contract, those are the default dates for the semester. It's not necessarily the actual date your class is running, but it's always the default dates that are there. So just a clarification point, because some people were baffled and saying, well, that's not what I'm actually doing. As soon as you get those contracts, make sure you sign those and get those back in. If I've sent you an email confirming that you're teaching, and for some reason you don't receive a contract, please, reach out to me or reach out to Donna, and we can clear that up for you. Sometimes, things get lost in the mail. Sometimes people change their addresses, and they don't let her office know, and then so that's where some of the confusion lies. So the form that you filled out today will be super helpful for me, because I can send her all of that up-to-date information to verify that she has the most up-to-date addresses, phone numbers, contact information for you. So that's the first thing. Second thing, course coding and web advisor. It's gotten a little tricky since this whole pandemic piece and people teaching more online classes. So you may notice that your class will say 100% online with day and time. That means they're virtually teaching it. So on the day and time that's listed, students are expected to show up and attend class. That doesn't mean you have to meet with them every single time. You could have just, periodically that you're having them at more of a hybrid piece. With a hybrid now is you meeting virtually and then them doing some asynchronous work. versus before when it's hybrid, it was more in-person, face-to-face, and then some asynchronous work. So that's what 100% online with a day and time means. If you have a 50% greater greater than 50% remote, then that means that students will be meeting with you face-to-face for part of the class, and then it's virtual for the rest of the class, or asynchronous. That's that piece. And then same thing if you have less than 50% remote, that means that majority of the class will be held in person, face to face, and then part of it will be virtual, either synchronous or asynchronous. And then if you have a section 90 course, if it's 91, 92, 93, those are with no day and time listed, those are strictly asynchronous classes, and students are not required to show up for any meetings at all. You can always offer optional meetings, and we recommend doing office times where students can check into because they do like that. But the students are expecting to do this at their own pace, and not expecting to meet at any point in time with an instructor. So just for clarification. So moving forward, if you have a class that you think you'd like to do 100% virtually online, let me know that, and we'll make sure we code it as such. Or if you wanted to do it 100% synchronous, it just has to be coded correctly so that students who are in online programs and in face-to-face programs just understand what they're signing up for. And we do have so many students across the state, and I know some of you are from Southern Maryland, and we do have Eastern Shore students that we're really trying to cater to, and the more that we can offer these online options, the better it is for those students as well. And we like to think we can combine cohorts that might be smaller. So are there any questions about coding that you want to clarify? I know it's super confusing, and I apologize, and I'm hoping that they streamline it in the next coming semesters, but anything right now? Eric?
Yeah, just a point of clarification when you said about self-pace. Not that I got any pushback, but a student in the 90 section said, well, this was self-paced. Why do I have a due date? I said, well, I need a due date for an assignment because I can't have them all at the end of the class. And it was fine. They understood, but I just, maybe that in addition could be something that could be spoken or said to the students.
Yeah, and I think everyone that I know of has due dates for their 90 sections. And so typically, if it's a Sunday to Sunday, or if it's a Monday to Friday, whatever those dates are, there are checkpoints. So self-paced, means that they get it done when they can during the week. And then also, if you open up your modules ahead of time, if they want to move along a little faster, perhaps that's another option. Could work too. But yeah, so that's good to know, and we'll definitely, we do have a couple of advisors on this call actually, so we'll make sure that we mention this to the advisors too, in case their students have questions. Any other questions about coding?
I just wanted to reiterate, I had the same issue, and so the due dates help with pacing of grading. In many cases, I had students who, because it was an asynchronous class and they were working self-paced, really waited to submit an awful lot of work, even though I had due dates in there. Some of them had things that were 17 days late, 14 days late, 13 days late. I still graded it. And I held meetings for anybody who wanted to come so that I could explain the content. But if there is clarification around that idea of the deadlines, due dates, that really would be really helpful.
Yep, that's perfect. Thank you all for the feedback. This is important for us to hear. Okay, so the next piece is just communication with students. Just making sure you are using your Notre Dame email, because that is what is required by the university, and it also complies with FERPA. And also making sure you let the students know you're going to get back to them within the 24 to 48-hour period. That's really important because some of them, you know, have issues that they need resolved quickly, or if they feel like they can't get a hold of you, you know, they reach out to their advisors or to myself or Dr. Doherty. So just, you know, constantly checking your email and just having that timeline in place so that students feel like they're being attended to. COVID updates, Dr. Doherty, do you want to talk about that?
I can definitely do that. So in terms of coming to campus, if you are coming to campus once in the semester to pick something up, technically you need to provide proof of a a negative COVID test, or you have to do the self-check the day before you come. If you're teaching on campus or at another offsite location face-to-face, you do need to upload your vaccination status. But if you don't expect to be on campus and you don't teach face-to-face this semester, you do not need to do that. So just be careful about dropping by campus, because you really need to be able to provide evidence that you're either vaccinated or that you're negative in terms of your COVID test and that you've used the self-check. And the website is reasonably up to date in terms of what the university's policy is for COVID, but that does change periodically, and we will try to alert you as it changes. Of course, our undergraduate students come back to campus this week, and we're all, like all other universities and colleges and schools, are just, you know, taking it one day at a time in terms of what it's going to look like. But the vast majority of School of Education classes are online, either synchronous or asynchronous, at least through the winter. And so for the most part, none of you really will be needing to come to campus. Most things can be handled virtually or electronically. If you have a question, you can either check with one of us in the School of Education or check with the Notre Dame HR office.
Thank you. Syllabus template. There is a new and improved ADA formatted syllabus that the AVP has put together, and then Ryan has modified it for us to include School of Education information as well. When we look at the website, Ryan will pull up where you can get that. So we're going to hold off on that. The other thing to remember is, please, every single semester that you teach a course, send your syllabus to our administrative assistant, Caroline, and her email address is on the agenda. You can find that as well. And she should be touching base with people too. But just if you can just send it to her as soon as when you go to post it on your Brightspace site, just send it to her as well. That would be really helpful. Roster verification. So most of you got this question correct. Roster verification goes into WebAdvisor. So there's a little line that says roster verification or submitting final grades. So that you need to do after the second week of your class. So let the registrar know that students are either in your class or they're not in your class, because that really affects financial aid for a lot of students. And also you'll receive emails from the registrar's office reminding you when the time is to do that. And it's also on the academic calendar page where you can find when your grades need to be submitted as well. And Ryan will show us the link on our webpage just to help you navigate that. Book orders. So that was a trick question on the Kahoot, because it was faculty Light for years, and they just got rid of that, and they have not told us what platform they're going to be using yet. But the new procedure for right now is to contact the bookstore directly and give them the information, and they'll make sure your books are listed on your course site and that they order them. Chalk and wire assignments. Ryan's going to go in a little bit more detail about that, but those assignments, as most of you know, are really, really important. and we need them to collect data for our accreditation, and we have our accreditation coming up in April. So some of you actually may be asked to volunteer to be on interview panels with our visiting team. And one of the things that you need to remember with the chalk and wire assignments is that students cannot receive a grade on that assignment until it's chalk and wire. So if you have somebody who hasn't turned it in, then they get a 0 on that assignment unless they turn it in, because it's that important to our documentation, to our data collection. And it says it in the handbook, I'm sorry, in the syllabus as well. So it's not a surprise to students. It's really important that we have those. Not all courses have chalk and wire assignments. So if you're questioning whether yours does or not, we can chat later and we can look that up for you. Ryan is going to go over the Netiquette guide. We developed that last year because we have so many online classes now. So we want to make sure our students and our faculty are apprised of, what it means to be a good online learner and teacher. Next piece is the Brightspace cross-listed courses. So some of you may be teaching cross-listed course, like a 300 level course and a 500 level course. In Brightspace, you will see a shell for each of your courses separately. And then if they're cross-listed, you'll see a third one with them cross-listed. When you build your course, you need to make sure you're building it in your cross-listed course. The other two can remain inactive. Cross-listed one needs to become active, and that's where you build it. So then both groups of students will be able to see it. If you only build it in your 500 section, your 300 section won't be able to see it. Okay, so that's really important. I know some people have struggled with that. So the exempt students exempt from chalk and wire, Kathy, we don't have any right now, right? All of our cohorts moving forward. Kathy Doherty and Kathy Sipes and Sheila. Okay, yes. So all of our students now are not exempt. Everyone has to have a chalk and wire account, and there's information on how to access that, how to pay for it, all on our student website, which they should have attended the orientation. We can provide you with that link too, so you could put that in your syllabus or put it on your Brightspace site and direct students there as well. Okay. If you ever have a question, if a student's trying to tell you that they're exempt from it and you just want to argue the point, you can just direct them or you can contact their advisor and they'll be able to clarify that for them. Okay. And then if you have any questions with specific courses, there is a list of program coordinators on the School of Ed website. Ryan will show you. You can contact them directly. I know you can definitely always reach out to me. I'm happy to point you in the right direction, but I don't know all of the program coordinator. So they would be the first person you'd want to contact about specific assignments and things of that nature. Any questions so far? LaShawn?
Dr. Julian, what is the process that we're to use if a student indicates that he or she has special needs or a disability?
That is a fantastic question. And it's actually on the syllabus. So we'll point that out for you. And then Brian, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is it on the website? It's on our website also. So yes, there's specific protocols for that. You definitely want to get the student to seek their own help. This isn't, your job to do that for them, but put them in the right direction ASAP, because you can't backtrack things, right? So you have to have it in writing to you. At the point where you receive that in writing paper from the services department and accessibility, then you will do whatever, those accommodations are. But give it to you halfway through the semester, there's no going back and like retro doing that. Okay. So great question. Thank you. All right. I'm going to turn it over to Ryan, and he's going to walk us through our fabulous School of Ed website and the syllabus template.
All right, thank you so much. Give me 1 second just to pop this up here. Beth, I did see your question. I'll get to that in just a second. Beth asked, can you send the email of who gets the new syllabus again? It's Beth, I'll show you where you can grab the syllabus right off the site and download it yourself. So this way you can have it right after this and you don't have to go through email if you don't want to. I am putting up.
Oh yeah, I already did that. No problem. I just want to make sure the right people have it.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. I am putting up on the chat again the link to the website. So I went through and tried to update all the policies and procedures and anything that I could think of that, and with Julianne and Kathy's guidance, anything that I could think of that could support adjunct faculty, associate faculty as they're preparing to teach with us. So if you go to the link, the homepage, I'm just going to go through page by page, and you can grab what you want as you go. I think it's just I want to avoid kind of doing a lot of jumping around. I'll just go through the page, and you can see exactly what you need at the time. So you go to the homepage. It starts with our SOE conceptual framework. I won't go through the RSVP right now. However, there's also, if you keep going down, I put a lot of the School of Education, like the handbook. And
Brian?
also, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not seeing your screen.
Sorry. Guess I'm out of practice. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. There you go, folks. Sorry about that. Okay, let's start over again. So here at the very top, so I'm right on the home page, as you can see. I put the link in the chat box. On the home page, it starts off with our RSVP, our conceptual framework. And this is a part of all the syllabi, so you should be able to see that language in your syllabus. Here's the School of Education handbook and the PhD program handbook. If you're teaching in the PhD program, this is the most up-to-date one as far as I know. I think I ended up putting this up here last year, so I'll ask Dr. Doherty just to make sure that it's the correct one, but I'm pretty sure it's the most up-to-date one. Revised 2020, so it should be up to date. And there's also the SOE does have dispositions that we try to focus on. Those are up here. And there's also a philosophy of assessment that the School of Education came up with a few years ago. There's the official grading scale. Please realize that we have different grading scales depending on whether you're teaching graduate or undergraduate students. For the folks that are teaching cross-indexed courses, please be aware of that you may have two sets of students in your class that have different grade scale expectations. So please be cognizant of that. The rubric, okay, so the rubric language, we use a standard rubric for performance levels. It's a 0 through 3. In the past, a few years ago, we used a 1 through 4 like rubric structure. Now it is 0 through 3. Just a little FYI, Chalk and Wire, which is also now called Anthology, Chalk and Wire was acquired. The rubrics in Chalk and Wire, I'm going to say, are 99% updated to the 0 through 3 rubric structure. So Chalk and Wire should reflect all these changes that were set forth by the School of Education and the Assessment Committee and so forth. So please make sure that your rubrics are following this type of language and these different performance levels. Okay, so that's the home page. Going to go back up here and Brightspace. So in January of this year, we adopted a new learning management system. We retired Joule, which was a Moodle product. We retired that, and we started Brightspace. Brightspace is a learning management system. We migrated a lot of the Joule courses over into Brightspace. And we now had about 2 semesters, where I'm counting the summer as well. We had 2 semesters under our belts, and we're still learning as we go. I know I have to get certification training, so add one more thing to the fall. But anyway, Brightspace is up and it is available. Courses are invisible until you make them visible for your students. They are being populated in the background with student roster information. If you need to access courses from previous semesters, there are directions on here on how to migrate course material from one semester to this semester. I'll show you the directions on how to do it. Everybody's able to do it, so it's nobody has to have special admin privileges. And if you want to share materials with another teacher, that's really up to you. There are ways to do that as well. Anyway, here are the directions for making courses visible. It's a 3-step process. It's right there. So please be cognizant of that as your course is going to become, as your course is going to start up. Please make sure you make your Brightspace area open. I included this Brightspace quick start guide for educators, for instructors. It is going to teach you how, pretty much all the nuts and bolts of how to carry on and use Brightspace to facilitate an online class. It's fairly useful. There's also a lot of training resources here too. Brightspace has really impressed me with how much supporting materials they've provided to their community. They've even developed a online community to really support their, I guess the best way to say is customers, but to support the learners, to support the instructors, to support everybody using Brightspace. There's a quick start webinar. It's 11 parts on demand, video-based training that'll take you through everything to learn about Brightspace. You can also access the Learning Center. You just have to have access. You have to use your Notre Dame email address to access those materials. You're able to join the community. If you have any questions, you can ask questions. They have quite a knowledge base there that can help you with anything that you have. And if you're a person that likes video on demand to solve problems, Brightspace also has a YouTube channel with like little 3 or 4 minute clips that'll teach you to do just about everything. How to set up grade books, how to communicate with your students, how to handle a discussion post, just about everything. And they have quite an extensive playlist. There's also been, we held, as we started Brightspace in the preparing for it in the fall of 2020 and adopting it in January of 2021, we did have Zoom sessions. We did have professional development sessions on how to navigate the Brightspace interface, how to set up new courses and build them. There are some professional development sessions that were recorded, so there's some YouTube links there. And there is also a synchronous learning environment inside of Brightspace. It's not Zoom. It's something called Virtual Classroom. It's also called Bongo. You are welcome to use that if you're using synchronous classes with your instruction. There is also a bunch of training and information there. As far as I know, and I'm not going to speak out of turn, but for Zoom, I know that Dr. Daugherty was working on potentially Zoom licenses. And again, I will not say whether she is or not, but I know that she was working on something in the background to try and figure out Zoom licenses for the School of Education instructors. I'm just going to leave it there though. For the knowledge base, there's also a lot of information on just about everything that you could possibly imagine when it comes to Brightspace. Short little recordings, anything from 2.5 minutes to 20 minutes on doing everything you would want to with your grade book. Widgets, rubric, if you want to build rubrics in the system, you can do that as well. There's quite a bit. And I will, I even put vocabulary in here just so that you could have the same academic language as your students, so that you can all have that shared understanding of what Brightspace has, because Brightspace is a learning management system. They use a little bit of different vocabulary with some of their features than other, like Blackboard or Moodle might have. So I just placed the vocabulary up there that Brightspace provided for us to kind of give you a frame of reference for certain language. So Brightspace, the one thing that is not up here that I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't put up here is how to actually bring content from one course to the other. So let me just pop over here to my Brightspace page, and I'll just demonstrate it for you real quick, and I will update the Brightspace page once we're done. So if I'm just going to go into a course, let's see, go into, this course is not started, so I'm just going to go in here. Okay, so this is a fall course. Well, it says fall 20. Oh well, I won't go into any student information. Okay, so if you go to course admin, you'll see that there's this import export copy components. If you click on this, you can decide exactly what to do. If you're taking a Brightspace, like say for instance, you've done something in the spring and you want to bring it over into fall, what I suggest you do is you hit this export. You can do copy components from another org, and then you can search the catalog for what you've taught in the past. Or if you want more of like, okay, I just want to take a file that I've used in the past, you can also export as a Brightspace package. What it does is it zips your entire site into a compressed file, and then you can download it as a file, and you can upload it to the page. You can upload it to your new site. You can also do certain other aspects like doing, you can import components from other things, but import, export, copy components is what you want to do if you want to bring and migrate material from previous semesters to new semesters. Now, if you haven't taught your course since the fall, before we started Brightspace, you'll have to contact Crystal Holder Smith to work out getting material from our Joule archive over into Brightspace. I'll see if I can, I owe you already the directions on how to do this import, export, copy components. I'll also see if I can put up in the chat Crystal Holder Smith's email if you need something from Joule into Brightspace. It's also not something that's going to be done in like 12 hours or 24 hours. So please be cognizant of that. Please make sure you give people time. I'm also still learning Brightspace. I am still developing it. I'm not trained. I'm actually starting to try and go through the certificate program myself. So I'm learning as I go as well. So, but I'm here to support you all. If you need me, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help you through anything when it comes to Brightspace. Let's see, I have a couple questions. I'll just take a look at them. Can you enlarge? Let's see, I think I'm at 100 and some percent already, but you know what? It shrank when I went to another page. There's 110, I think is the best I can do.
That's great.
Yep, sorry about that. It's so it's import, export, copy components. That's how you get content from Brightspace from semester to semester. It's the useful way. And what Dr. Dupuy was mentioning about make sure if you're cross-listed that you're using the one that shares the proper language. Let me just show you what it kind of looks like here, because I did one during the summer. It's not, I did one this summer just to show you what it looks like. Summer. No, it was summer, this one. Okay, so I taught this course here, Digital Generations and Globalized. You'll see that one says OL1, one says 90. These are the ones I didn't use. I used this one right here that actually had OL1 and 90 connected together. This is the one that's technically, it's cross-indexed. They put the language together. So that's the one that I ended up using for my course. I can't go in here, but I wanted to show you just the difference if you have a cross-indexed course. And again, I'll make sure to put in there about the directions on importing, exporting. Okay, so let me go back to page. Oh, SOE contacts. So I have updated the contacts listings. If you are working with in a specific area, I put the contact. I wouldn't say They're the SPA coordinators. They're really the ones that kind of deal with all of the different assessments in areas. Just to show you, here are the lists of the people that you can contact. The professional development school coordinators. Stephanie Savick, I have to add Dr. Angelo Letizia. I have to add his name to here. I did it in one area I didn't do on this web page, so you can contact those two if you need to deal with anything when it comes to professional development schools for our initial certification. The wonderful School of Education advisors, here is their information, their contact information, their emails, and their phone numbers. We also tried to add who exactly they work with. If you're associated with anything when it comes to EdTPA, Dr. Snyder and Dr. Pallett are here. Their contact information is here. If you need to learn more about it, I do have some information here on EdTPA. For Chalk and Wire, now you might hear that same language, Chalk and Wire and Anthology. Please realize that Chalk and Wire was just purchased. So you may hear Anthology, you may hear Chalk and Wire. It's just the branding kind of changing, that's it. In fact, they were also called Campus Labs. I can't keep track with these tech companies either. The cost, if you have any questions about Chalk and Wire, if the payment, here is the link to actually for the students to purchase Chalk and Wire. Professor Madeline Ball handles all the accounts when it comes to, once the students pay for the accounts, she sets them up with an account way to activate the account, and also directions for how to use Chalk and Wire. I'll also show you that there are directions for using, so they actually get directions on how to set up Chalk and Wire, how to set up Anthology when they get their accounts. If you are new to Chalk and Wire, Anthology, if you're new and you need any help with learning how to assess material inside of Chalk and Wire, Anthology, then you are more than welcome. Please reach out to Madeline Ball or myself, and there are email addresses right there. Course classroom scheduling, please go through Julianne with that. Please, if there's some sort of, if you're teaching offsite, I know a lot of us right now are teaching online, face-to-face, we're starting to phase that in, but if you're offsite, I don't know if we have any courses that are offsite right now. Julian's shaking no, so I'm not. In the future, if you have a course that is being taught offsite and something's going on with the room, please don't try and jump or go to a different room without contacting and going through the proper channels. So please make sure to work with us when it comes to scheduling. If anything is needing, if something needs to be changed, you have to work through Julianne. The IT help desk is right there. Let's see, human resources, if you need to contact, there's Shannon's information. I also was able to get more up-to-date information on the library if students need to go there and use the library. There's all the updated information on the guidelines, masks are required, the phone number, the information updated. They can go to the site and get updated hours. So that's the SOE contacts. Okay. So if you need some help when it comes to teaching online and remotely, I'm not going to go there tonight, but I did provide some information there. If you are new to teaching online, you're more than welcome to go there. There's some tools or some strategies to help you. For Netiquette, the operations committee and I, we created and drafted these Netiquette guidelines to help when it comes to digital citizenship with our students. It goes over everything from online courses, security etiquette, professional etiquette, communication etiquette, participation, email, everything. And we also put it in there for students. So not only are we doing it for our faculty, but also for our students. If you would like to post this to your Brightspace site, I put these in document form at the very bottom. You're more than welcome to download those and share those with your students. There's a page here called Essential Documents and Templates. What I ended up doing is I took a lot of the important documents and resources, and I say I a lot, I'm sorry, it's really the operations committee. It's we took a lot of the information that will be helpful to you and tried to put this just on a one-stop shop. So the new School of Education syllabus template is here. This is the one that I'll run through in just a second. But there's also the School of Education lesson plan that's aligned to EdTPA. There's also some of the ones that are aligned to like science and social studies and TESOL. And also just if you don't want to go back to the Connecticut page, you can also go to the Connecticut one. I did already open up this School of Education template. I'm sure I did. Yep, it's right behind here. Boop. Okay, so let me check chat. Okay. I'll answer any specific ones in just a moment. I think I'm up to date on everything. Okay. I'm going to chat, sorry. Okay, so for the template, for the syllabus template, this was passed down from the academic affairs. Well, what we ended up doing is we took it and we added some School of Education policies that are School of Education specific. So if you go through here, education, just going through the title, please add what is in from WebAdvisor into here. A lot of people are gonna say, oh, can I just paste this from my old template? Sure, just make sure to keep it nice and neat and consistent when it comes to the language, make sure it's all correct. Start and end dates, please make sure you use what's on WebAdvisor. Class meeting times is right there. And this is kind of like they kind of went to town with forms. So you have to click in here and enter the text. And it should expand. Course information, course description, credit hour statements. So for the credit hour statements are really just a matter of, it's a section, it's just talking about exactly how you fulfill your time when it comes to instruction. I can show you an example of what I had in the past. Julianne, we may just want to give them a little bit of guidance on the credit hour statements. I didn't put that up here because I think it depends on each instructor. Required and recommended texts. Please make sure to place all this information, required or optional. It's helpful. We really are trying to help our students when it comes to finding affordable books. So please make sure to give them this information as much as possible. Also communicate with the bookstore, which now it's really nice. As you contact the bookstore and send them their emails, please make sure you're saying exactly what editions are expected, you know, what any special instructions that they may have for the student. Please make sure to communicate with that with them. Program learning outcomes, course learning objectives, course structure and instructional delivery. Okay, so the attendance and participation, this is actually taken from the School of Education. This was language that was drafted previously. I put this into here. Coursework policies and procedures. A lot of this, if you've had a syllabus in the past that you have to kind of import material from, you can. It's just a matter of putting this information in there. Technology integration requirements, expectations. This might be like, what type of technology do you have or need for the course? So the grading scales. So the one that was sent from Academic Affairs just had these blank columns. I went and just did the graduate scale and the undergraduate scale. It is there for them to see. This is taken directly from the School of Education information. This is also up on the website. Okay, so the course schedule. I placed in here 15 different rows. So this way you can put a topic, activities, and what is due. As you type in here, it should extend and become bigger. It even goes to the next page. I think I put 15 rows. You are more than welcome to delete or add more if you would like. Just make sure you copy all of this and then hit the, copy paste to extend it down further if you'd like. Content about the honor code, academic integrity, community etiquette. A lot of this is taken right from Academic Affairs. They placed it here. Here's the in-class technology, the information about, it's kind of like the acceptable use policy really for the school. Here's the information on access to disability support services. So this is a information directly taken from the site. This is put on there. If I'm looking right, I don't think they put a name on here just in case somebody changes information, but the links are active links. They can go there, the students can go there and get their accommodations. And you may, as an instructor, receive a document from the Office of Accessibility and Health Promotion. You may get a document, some documentation from that site. It'll give you directions on accommodations. Please make sure to follow those obligations. Emergency communication procedures. Okay, then if you go lower down, the School of Education policies are nested down further below. Again, very similar to the policy that was on the web page. Here's the access to actually purchase the account for the student. Here's who exactly needs it. There are some exceptions for this potential on who, because we do have 2 groups that actually do get it paid out of tuition. Those are the only 2 groups that do it. Everybody else should be able to pay for it through the secure TouchNet link. If you need some help when it comes to resources for chalk and wire, it may have been taken off of this page. I'll make sure that you have access to all of the student directions, the helpful YouTube clips. I'll make sure that that is up on the site. I'm pretty sure it is up on the site. So if you want to provide them with any information on chalk and wire, they can have access to it. I just got an email stating that my chalk and wire has been updated. So I'll take a look at that in a second. Should give you a little tour. School of Education Communication and Email Policy. There is the policy that was drafted that they have to use their Notre Dame of Maryland email accounts. Classroom etiquette, their expectations on professional behavior. And there's also the philosophy of education. Philosophy of assessment. Please make sure you include your works cited. I know we're all transitioning over the 7th edition of APA. Please make sure you list them right here down below. So that is the syllabus template. You can download it off the website, or you can even email me. I'm happy to reply and just link the provide it to you as an attachment. So please make sure that after you complete this and you put it up onto Brightspace, make sure you are forwarding it to Caroline, right? Caroline, sorry. Make sure you're forwarding it to the administrative assistant so that they can have a copy of this on file. Okay, so here I'm back. Yes.
I'm sorry, it's Leah. I put it in the chat, but just to make sure, what type of doc, when I download it off of, because it's a Google Doc, when I opened it, download it as just a regular Word document?
Yeah, it should show it. Yeah, it should work.
And then just upload it right back into my Brightspace after it's been completed.
Yeah, it's the only reason, since I use everything Google Sites, it just makes life easier for me to put it up as a Google Doc. This way you can download it to wherever you want. So if you're on a Mac, you could download it as a Word document, but it will open up in Pages. So you're more than welcome to work in the Word version of it. It's just I have to put it up there as that. So this way it's kind of like universally translated for all the different computers that we all have. So you should be able to provide it as a document. Let me see. Information, I'm just going to glance over EdTPA. So if you have information here about EdTPA, it's right there. If you need directions on how to do anything when it comes to WebAdvisor, such as roster verification, putting in your final grades, I don't think anybody here is going to be doing midterms, but if you need to do final grades, roster verification, there are directions here on how to do it in WebAdvisor. I will say this, I did hear that WebAdvisor is going to be sunsetted for self-service, I think, in the future. So I know that as soon as that changes, we'll update this information as well. Let's see. I also tried to do a section on just for the associate faculty to provide you with as much guidance as possible. Here's the academic calendar link. This is a past information session, how to order books. Here's the link to the bookstore, the email address. Here's all the chalk and wire stuff. I probably should have put that with chalk and wire as well. There's a lot of places I could put different things. So sorry I didn't put it here, but here's the official ePortfolio policy. Here are all the directions I promised you for the students. If the students need to know how to use chalk and wire, You can give them this link for free. If you would rather, like, I don't want to talk to him, I just want to learn how to assess documents. If you want to learn how to assess assignments, and you can go through, I did put up a section right here of directions on how to assess things in Chalk and Wire. And it does give you guidance on how to log in, how to do everything, how to get access to assessments, what exactly it looks like, how to gain access, reviewing the assessment interface, how to put content in here if you'd like, how to click on the different rubric performance levels. It's all up here. Let's see, something close this up here. Let's see, and there's all the people to contact if you have any needs for data. I know that a lot of this is associate faculty, so you may not have needs for a data. If you're a SPA coordinator, these are the people to contact if you need data for certain things. But unless you're, if you're writing a SPA report, but I don't think we have a lot of people here that are doing it. So that's the associate faculty. I hope the content helps you. Here's the link to the bookstore. I won't bore you to death. It's just basically saying contact the bookstore. Here's more information on Chalk and Wire. Again, very similar to what I found. I did try to put this in multiple places. Let's see. Don't know if Chalk and Wire is working. Oh, you know what? I did get an email saying it's working. Okay. So it is, that's basically the address. It's HBS NDM chalkandwire.com. Return, it'll take you right to here to log in. If you do not have an account, please reach out to myself or Professor Ball and we'll get you squared away with an account. Let's see. I don't know why I have pending assessments, but to assess, so once they give you material, once they send you assignments, you go to menu and you go to assess. You click on this and you can hit assess. And I'm not going to grade this. This was, I think this was just at errors in submissions. So what you'll do is you can download this, or you can click on view and actually see the document instead of downloading it all. There we go. And this obviously here, if you want to put comments or if you want to do edits, you can do, it's very similar to a lot of the online interfaces that allow you to add comments and give feedback right directly to here without even having to download the document. If you want to fill in the rubric, you just click on the different information. You can even put comments by different criterion, or you can do overall comments. If the student kind of like did something really wrong and you want to get them to do a resubmission, you can click on request resubmission. I'm not going to do that so this poor student doesn't feel like I'm picking on them. Let's see. And as you're running, yeah, go ahead.
This is Carrie. So a couple of times last semester, I had students submit things. I don't know if it was they were just clicking, like double clicking, and it was submitting it twice. Do we just delete the additional one, or are we supposed to withdraw it? Like, I just want to make sure that I'm doing the correct thing so that, because then they would resubmit it again and again and again.
Yep. My record was 27 times. I don't know if it got hooked up or just cycled through or something like that. Sometimes you just have a nervous Nelly who just sends it 3 or 4 times within 5 minutes or something. Something happens. You can just always go to, in fact, I'll even show you, since this student accidentally just sent me, and you can see that this may have been a person that just sent it to me by accident. If you have to delete it, you just go click on here and hit delete. And it's gone. And if they send you 4 copies, I usually, if they send you something, you can always reach out to the student and ask them, like, is that, there's something that you sent 12 hours apart, can you get some clarification? Is something wrong? They may have just said, I made a mistake. I realized I needed fixed, can you please just assess the latest one that I sent you? And you can always go here and just hit delete. Okay, so that is chalk and wire. It's if you need any further assistance, the assessor guide will help you. If you would like any assistance, if you need like a one-on-one session with myself or Professor Ball, please reach out to me. We'll schedule something in the near future. We can make that happen. Okay. Let's see. So I'm gonna close out of chalk and wire.
Brian, there was a question in the chat about the name change to anthology, when the official changeover takes place, because a lot of things still say chalk and wire.
Yeah, I have no idea. They've been rebranding themselves basically for the last 2 or 3 years. They were acquired. So Chalk and Wire was purchased by Campus Labs. I guess that would have been about a little over 2 years ago. Then Campus Labs, I guess, was purchased by Anthology. When you go to the Chalk and Wire page, it still says chalkandwire.com, but it does have a lot of like stuff in the headers and footers on Anthology. So I don't know. I've not heard anything since, but it's going to work. They're going to provide it as a service. So if we hear something else, you'll hear back from us. But we think they're going to. I mean, it generates them good money. So it should just be clear sailing. Knock on wood. Sean asked, "Will we have access to this?" Yes, I'll put it up on the home page for this website. Let's see. I'm just going through questions right now. Is supposed to go in Chalkwire. It never has in the past. I'm gonna find that nothing from. Linda's asking something about elementary reading materials. If you have specific questions about something in your course and site, reach out to me after the meeting. I'll put my email address in the meeting, and I'll have to investigate because I don't know everything that goes up in Chalkwire, but I can certainly get you the answers fast. Okay, I think that's about it. Julianne did poke me and told me to get going. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this back over to the bosses. So thank you very much. If you need anything, please reach out to me.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yep.
So hopefully that website will be useful to you. We try to, like Ryan said, make it a one-stop shop, easy to find things because there's just so much information. So Lisa's going to take a few minutes just to review EdTPA and answer any questions you might have related to that. Thanks, Lisa.
Ryan, can you pull the website back up and go to the EdTPA tab, please? Thank you.
Yep, give me a second.
Thanks. All right. Good evening, everyone. So I'm just going to talk briefly about EdTPA. It is a teacher performance assessment that our initial certification students take. Okay, so if you have students who are getting their teaching certification, they will be taking this assessment. They complete it during their internship semester, and we support them during that time. So, but we just want to give you a little bit of background and then also have you think about things you might do to help support them so that they're prepared when they get to the internship and time to do the EdTPA. You can see here just the map. Maryland is one of the states. Actually, I believe since this map came out, we probably need to update this. It should be burgundy. There is policy in place, so they do need to take EdTPA at this point for certification. There is not a cutoff score that they have to pass, but they do have to take it and have all sections scored to be able to get their certification. Ryan, if you wouldn't mind scrolling down, that'd be awesome. Thank you so much. It is a content-based assessment. So, the early childhood folks take a different assessment than the elementary. In elementary, they can do literacy or math, and then for basically every content area, there's a different assessment. And this is where, for some of you who teach those content-specific courses, where your help definitely comes in. If you can scroll down, Ryan. Basically, you know, it's really an educative process. If you've heard students talk about it, they might have griped or complained about it. And you all are experienced educators. It's similar, somewhat similar in process to the National Board Certification, if you're familiar with that, and maybe some of you have gone through that, but it really goes through the concept. Ryan, if you can go down to the diagram at the bottom, of planning, teaching, and assessment. So they're going through this cycle, and those are different tasks they're doing. So they're planning a series of lessons, and they're writing and justifying. They do a commentary where they explain why they planned the way they did with the specific students in mind. So as you're teaching your coursework, that differentiation is really important. And then they're teaching those lessons and video recording themselves. You know, any opportunities you can give them to video record themselves in a mock teaching or real teaching experience is going to help prepare them for it. And then they do assessment. They practice giving feedback. They analyze student work. So any experiences you can give them with that are really beneficial. And then the other thing you'll notice, academic language. There's a lot of academic language in this. So, you know, having them think about vocabulary students will need, syntax, discourse, all those different things can help support them in this. And if you ever want to see, you know, since their handbooks are secured, we can't just post them all on this site for you to look, but if you were to email me, I could fill you in on some information and share a handbook with you where you could see exactly what it is they need to do. Brian, if you don't mind scrolling down, that'd be awesome. They are scored on a 1 through 5 scale. We're trying to get them right at the 3. That's where we expect them to be, just to show that they are an early novice teacher. One of the other things that you can do, and for those of you who maybe have tuned out a little bit because you don't teach initial cert, even if you teach grad classes, we do ask that they use, or you use within your coursework, the Notre Dame lesson plan template. Ryan showed that list of essential documents. So on that, you'll see that template, and it has the things that they need to, you know, be able to do for EdTPA. So it has a section on academic language. It has sections on differentiation. So we would like to use that consistently. So even if you're teaching an advanced program, if there is lesson planning, if you could please use that consistent lesson plan template, that will be helpful for all of our students. And we know it's a really long template, and we know it's not realistic for them to teach like that every single day when they're in the classroom. But when they are learning, we do want them to plan with that level of detail. All right, my light's on a timer, so it just went out. If you have any questions about EdTPA or any specific things that you could do, you can be in touch with me or Dr. Snyder is the other contact. There are a couple other different resources here, you know, an orientation we went through if you want more information. They're also, EdTPA also sometimes does webinars and things. We can send out information. So if you want to know more, or you're thinking about how you might be able to integrate some of these things, reach out to us and we can definitely help you out. All right. Thank you. Back to you.
Thanks, Dr. Pallett. Okay, just to wrap this up, I want to throw an opportunity out there for you all. We are going to be taking over some online classes that we've had another company run for us for a number of years, and we'd like to house them within Notre Dame. And I know that a lot of you have some expertise in these areas, so I'm just going to share my screen with you. And if any of these jump out for you, you're interested in developing these, everyone see the potential new courses? Yes, okay. If you're interested in developing any of these, shoot me an email and we can talk about that. And I can send this in a follow-up email also, but just to give you a heads up that we'd like to start developing these, and some of them potentially for next spring. So that's another opportunity for you all to teach too. I'm going to put the information link back in the chat again. So if you did not get a chance to get your information or you lost the link, or you got kicked off and you lost the link that way, you will have it again, and you can go ahead and just fill that out. And yes, I will for sure email you this list of courses. So with that, I'll open up any other questions, comments. Okay, Dr. Doherty, any last words?
No, just thanks to all of you who have put this together today. I'm always amazed at the extent to which Ryan, you especially, are able to organize information in a way that's easily accessible. So thank you. Lisa, thank you for the TPA piece. And even though I didn't win Kahoot, I enjoyed playing the game. So
yes, so I will mail you your little swag bag packages to the top 3 finishers. Again, if you have any questions at all, please let us know. Reach out. We're happy to help. And also, if you think of anything that you might be helpful for other faculty to know, and it's not on the website, let us know for sure, and we'll make sure we post it on there, because we want to make sure we have the most up-to-date and helpful information, because this is a second or third job for some of you, and you already have a lot going on, so we want to make it as easy and accessible as possible.
Julian, could you just clarify, what is the student average per graduate course for associate faculty?
What do you mean by average? There's no real average. There's
like the enrollment number for a course. Like I know 7 is, for the class to run, but what's the average number in a course where, the cutoff is?
Well, so 24 is usually the enrollment limit, but there's no limits right now on our courses, so that students don't have the wait list to worry about. So 24, so after 24, then you get the extra $100 per student. You get a second contract for that. And just to clarify, for that, some of you have gotten that. I have to wait until the add drop period is completed before I submit that, but maybe a couple weeks after your course is started, that gets submitted. So sometimes if you're looking for a track right away, it's going to take a couple weeks for that.
Right. Thanks, Julian.
Sure.
And of course, the opposite is true as well, right, Julian? If you fall below the 7 student minimum, you may be asked to teach at a prorated stipend. So,
and that's $400 per student. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I appreciate those of you who have done that, because I know some of our programs are fairly small, and these students need these classes in order to graduate. So it's really important, and we really appreciate your flexibility with that. All right, well, again, if you think of anything else, please let us know, and have a great start to the semester. And I'll be in touch shortly about the upcoming semesters for teaching.